Hey everybody, Bjorn here from aquariummastery.com, and this week's podcast is about aquarium lighting. So let's get right into it. Question number 1 is, do I even need aquarium lighting? And the short answer is, yes you do. A healthy aquarium needs to have lights. Lights are used to simulate the day-night cycle for your fish, which helps them maintain a regular cycle, which is essential for their health. Proper lighting in your aquarium will also help plants photosynthesize. Question number 2 is, what sort of lighting do I need for my aquarium? The lighting you need depends largely on whether you have a fish-only aquarium or an aquarium with living plants. An aquarium that only has fish needs a light that produces about 1 to 2 watts of power per gallon of water. For a fish-only aquarium, you can use compact fluorescent lights or standard fluorescent lights. You don't need to provide a specific spectrum of light, so you can choose whichever spectrum you prefer. Just so you know, the spectrum of light refers to the color of the light given off by the light bulb. And also, spectrums refer to light that is not visible by humans, but that can be used by plants to photosynthesize. UV is a good example of a spectrum of light or a wavelength of light that cannot be seen by humans. If your aquarium inhabitants include plants, then you can use standard fluorescent lights, compact fluorescent lights, VHO fluorescence, T5, high output fluorescence, or metal halide lights. Those lighting type names might be a little intimidating at first, but I suggest that you go check out a pet store, and they usually have a bunch of demo aquariums with different lighting and different fish so you can see them all in action, and that'll help you make a better decision when buying them and make them less intimidating. A good rule of thumb for planted aquariums is that the lights must produce between 2 and 5 watts of power per gallon of water. Unlike the fish-only aquariums, planted aquariums require full spectrum light so that the plants can photosynthesize. Question 3 is, what type of lighting is best for viewing my fish? And that's really just a matter of preference. As you probably know, some aquarium fish have reflective surfaces, and certain wavelengths of light make it appear like they're glowing. So maybe some of your fish have those characteristics, and you want to have a specific type or specific spectrum of light that will bring those characteristics out. And again, the best thing to do here is go to a pet store, look at their demo aquariums, and see how the different types of light interact with the different types of fish, and then you can make a better buying decision. Question number 4 is, I replaced my synthetic plants with live ones and they don't look healthy. What could be causing this? For anybody who listened to the first part of this podcast, you can already answer this question. Chances are that the lighting in this aquarium is not full spectrum or it's not powerful enough. Remember, your lights need to generate 2 to 5 watts of power per gallon of aquarium water in a planted aquarium, and the lights must be full spectrum. If you look closely at your lighting, you should be able to see how many watts of energy it puts out. Then divide that number by the number of gallons in your aquarium, and the resulting number needs to be between 2 and 5. If it's lower, then you need to get a more powerful lighting source. On the other hand, if the power is in the appropriate range, then your lights may not be full spectrum. If you want to use some handy-dandy aquarium calculators to help you with these calculations, go to www.aquariummastery.com/calculators. And then you just input the dimensions of your aquarium, and it spits out all the information you need, even regarding light output and power. For planted aquariums, you also have to make sure that the lighting is one of these types: standard fluorescence, compact power fluorescence, VHO fluorescence, T5 high output fluorescence, or metal halide. Question number 5, aquarium lights are kind of expensive. Can I just buy some lights from the hardware store? Yes, you can buy lights from the hardware store, but you have to be careful. Regular incandescent lights promote growth of brown algae, and you really don't want that. The reason aquarium lights are a little more expensive is because they're specifically designed for aquariums. So you'll be spending a little more money up front to get the proper lighting, but you'll save yourself a lot of headaches in the long run. Question number 6. Now that I've bought my new aquarium lights, how do I install them? This really depends on the type of aquarium lid you have and the type of lighting. Store-bought lights should come with installation instructions. If you bought the lights previously enjoyed, then you may not have the instructions and you're kind of out of luck and you have to figure out your own way of installing them. Some lights or some lids have harnesses for lighting that allow you to just snap the new lights in. Others will require you to drill some holes and attach a lighting harness. You should be able to do some searches on the major search engines and dig up some instructions for your specific lighting type if you don't have any. After you have the lights installed, make sure that you keep a close eye on the water temperature near the surface. If the lights are too close to the water, they will raise the water temperature and that will affect your aquarium fish and plants, usually in a negative way. If that's the case, you have to move your harness a little higher so the lights are further from the water surface. If you can't move the lights higher, then you'll need to install a small cooling fan to help dissipate the heat generated by the lights. This is usually only a problem with the powerful lights required for planted aquariums. If you have a fish-only aquarium, you shouldn't have to worry about this too much. Question number 7. My aquarium came with lights. Do you think I'll ever need to change the lighting type? Well, you might have to if you decide to change the aquarium inhabitants in the future. If the lights are not powerful enough for live plants and you want to have live plants, then you need to change the lighting type. I recommend that you figure out exactly what type of lighting you have in your aquarium. You can usually do that by looking at the bulb or the lighting harness. And then you can figure out what type of aquarium inhabitants that light supports. And as long as you don't want to deviate from that, then you shouldn't have to change the lighting type in the future. Question number 8. What are all the different lighting types available on the market? This is a bit of a more in-depth question. So first I will list the different types of lighting you can get, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about each. Aquarium lights that you'll run into include incandescent, standard fluorescence, power compact fluorescence, VHO fluorescence, T5 high output fluorescence, metal halide or HQI, and LED moon or lunar light. Incandescent lights are small, lower power, and recommended for fish-only setups. They're commonly found in aquarium starter kits. Standard fluorescents come in a wide variety of colors but are not recommended for planted aquariums unless you have low-light plants or corals. Power compact fluorescents can last for over 2 years. You can use them to light planted freshwater aquariums, but they do produce a lot of heat, so you may need a cooling fan. VHO fluorescent lights are good for planted aquariums and they also produce a lot of heat. And they will more than likely require a cooling fan. T5 high output fluorescents are not recommended if your aquarium is deeper than 24 inches. But they can be used for a planted aquarium, they don't produce a lot of heat, and they can last up to 2 years. Metal halide are the highest intensity lighting you can get for your aquarium. They produce a lot of heat, and possibly even UV radiation, but they can be used for aquariums that are deeper than 24 inches. LED moon or lunar lights are used to recreate nighttime lighting conditions in your aquarium, which is great for viewing nocturnal inhabitants. And having these LED moon lights on also won't throw off your fish's day-night cycle. If you want even more information about these lighting types, go to www.aquariummastery.com, look up the Aquarium Lighting 101 article, and at the bottom of that article there's a table that compares all these different lighting types and their pros and cons. Question number 9. I want to recreate the natural lighting of my aquarium inhabitants. How do I do that? First of all, that is a great thing to do. Aquatic life grows faster and healthier and survives longer when the lighting in the aquarium matches the natural light of where the inhabitants came from. But the thing is, it requires a little research to get this right. First, you have to figure out where your aquarium inhabitants came from, and you can do that at aquariummastery.com/origins. Once you know where they came from, you have to find out what type of light they live with in those areas. And you should be able to find a good source of information on that on the major search engines. And once you know what type of light is required, you can go to the aquatic supply store and buy the lighting that fits the bill. This is a pretty lengthy process, but it is well worth it, and your aquarium inhabitants will love you for it. Question number 10. Do you have any final recommendations on aquarium lighting? Yes, I do. When you buy lighting, keep in mind that the higher the power of the light, the more energy it consumes and the more it will cost to operate your aquarium. It's often cheaper to pay a little more upfront and save on the operating costs. You also want to choose light bulbs that don't need to be replaced too often. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope this information will serve you and help you become a better aquarist. And don't forget to go to www.aquariummastery.com right now to get all the latest and greatest aquarium information. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.